spot. There was a small bet relative. Once again, you're watching Locals Live right here from Sugerhouse Casino in Center City, Philadelphia. On the mic today are Ilya Ekshut and Joe Kim. We're bringing you this third group of players. So what we have today are 4 groups of players, each of whom playing 2-hour sessions for a total of 8 hours. This is our third group.
Such a weird stack all around the table. We're making that crazy bluff and taking down that big pot, so now everybody's got about max buy-in. You know, I'm sure some of these guys are going to start getting loose because they have about the same as they bought it. I think, well, actually, Foreman bought him with
500, I believe.
What they bought him with.
I believe Foreman bought him with 500, and he's up. He's been playing pretty tight. You know, he folded ace-10 suited to an open pre-flop. But his style is working for him. He is up in this session.
This is interesting here.
Is this another limp spot? Yes, it is.
Also, another reason why you don't want to be limping in a lot with mediocre hands.
We have Whispers limp. Yeah, Whispers limp cutoff with 7-5 off. You know, I normally pitch that hand pre-flop.
Whispers, man.
He has middle pair, and he's continuing. He, in fact, has the best hand at the moment.
Hey, you know what? No.
A raise from Robbins gets through with the bottom pair and an open-ender.
Oh, Whispers, he tried. Was that his first bet out on the flop there?
I believe, yes, he bet 5, got called by the guy in the middle, and then Robbins raised to 40, and that was the end of that.
You're a nickel.
I think War might be getting up and Fish. We call him Fish. He's definitely a local. Gregory Fishberg.
Greg Fishberg is jumping into the game. Which seat is he taking? Joe's seat?
I think so.
Okay.
Seats. Well, let's see. It's seat 7. That's cool.
Action start here for 10.
It'd be really fun to see Worm and Fish at the same table, though.
Well, we wouldn't be short of action if that came about. We have Whispers straddling here, I believe, and the action began from a player in late position. We have limpers and 4 men bringing it in for a raise.
It's interesting how Worm gets up and
all of a sudden someone else gets to raise a pot. How about that? So Foreman gets called by 2 people. Foreman has ace-jack suited. He raised it up from the big blind. He got called by Lee under the gun with deuces.
On Twitch now.
Yeah,
Smith continued with 9-3 suited.
Who's that flop here?
That's a 30-minute delay.
Oh, okay.
Foreman c-bets this flop.
3-5-6 is the flop.
Low connected flop.
Oh, okay.
He's going to get called by deuces
Yeah,
here.
there's like a little delay on that one. It skips, well, like it skips frames sometimes.
And they'll play a turn.
Wow. So Ryan gets there.
Lee turns.
So was that
to
a
straight.
spade on the turn, though?
Turn was a 5 of hearts. So Foreman has a big draw. He has a nut flush draw. He bet again, and he got called by deuces again. So Lee
He just called.
Lee is playing his bottom end of his straight slowly, and it works because Foreman bluffs the river. Bluffs the river small. He's going to get just called because the backdoor flush came in, and the board paired ace-jack high is no good.
Kind of a scary river card for Lee, but you know the fact that partner was just c-betting, pretty sure he didn't really think twice about it.
To me, this river is a race. I understand slow playing the turn and disguising your hand a little bit, but the Foreman is a pre-flop raiser. He bet 3 times. He bet small in the end. The board paired. You might get called by an overpair here if you put in a raise because the front door flush missed.
Maybe Ryan just wanted to see what he had there.
He had a hand that he wasn't going to call a raise with anyway.
Got to be good at jumping, right?
So he wouldn't. The raise wouldn't gotten paid, but I'd put in a little raise here if I had deuces in this spot.
I would definitely be folding to a raise there on that river.
With ace high for sure. I think most people would too.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
fold.
Although you find some optimistic callers. They think you missed a flush draw, and they're gonna call down. But the fact that the Foreman had the flush draw himself, there's no way he was calling a raise here.
Okay, so Worm's back.
If you reference the chat, you can see the names of the players who are at the table right now. All of our local talent is on display today at Sugerhouse Poker.
is not coming this time around. Street Spirit. Yeah, he did come last time, earlier this year. Good times.
But our high stakes game on Friday will be hosted by none other than Doug Folk. So make sure you tune in for that on Friday. Cards go in the air at noon, and the stream starts at 12:30. Brett Garrett, Doug Polk, Matt Glenns, Jeremy Kaufman, and many other luminaries involved in Friday's action.
He just got raised. Yeah, he's not calling here, I don't think. Not really sure what the action was here, but pretty small pot.
So Lee bet the river when he rivered an ace, and he got raised by Smith, who rivered 2-pair with the bottom with the backdoor flush draw coming in. We'll see what he thinks about this raise. He bet 55 and raised to. He bet 10 and raised to 65. Is that
fold that? That's a very good fold.
That's a very big raise to 65. This was a limp pot from what I can tell.
A little fishy there. So you think some of these players got a read on each other yet, or just playing cards?
I think they're just playing cards.
Right? Haven't seen any moves just yet.
I haven't seen many stare downs. I haven't seen many many people slowing down and trying to get a read on their opponent.
Gotta love the stare downs.
But to be fair, I don't think we've had any complicated collisions where a deeper level of play would be warranted. I think so far, and we have Robbins picking up aces here from you see how he paused here before making a raise? Well, whether someone noticed it or not, I don't think it matters because it's going to fall to the straddle, and Whispers is going to look like he wants to continue and defend his straddle with King 10 open. Whispers is not getting a lot of luck today. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay, Whispers flops 2-pair.
Whispers flops 2-pair.
And you know he's going to.
Well, I mean, this is just going to get in right here. I mean, unless he leads, and then there's no way Robbins is folding aces, even though he doesn't have a club. This is just going to get in.
It is kind of strange. I mean,
But I mean, what are you going to do? Just fold aces to this guy who's sitting there with $100?
So he has about 8 outs here. I mean, he probably already has calculated that.
He's going to think about it some more.
Well, he did call with just top pair, just kind of strangely to big raise before.
I mean, what are you going to do when you got aces?
In, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting in, and they're going to run the cards and see who takes the money.
Yeah.
Whispers fills up on the turn, and an ace peels off.
There we go.
Ace peels off on the river, and it peels our short stack. I'll tell you, on the turn, aces are drawing rather slim, and Whispers was feeling pretty good about his chances. But drama at Sugerhouse Poker. Ace on the river, as Barry Greenstein said many years ago. Ships the pot to Robbins, and we lose Whispers for the second time in this session. We'll see if he comes back with another buy-in.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, is he coming back with another buy-in, or should he have just combined it all and just, played poker?
I'll tell you, it's not my style to tell people how to manage their money, and if people, even though I'm a big hater of short stack, I'm not gonna be afraid of that word.
Wow.
But if
Aces
that's what
again
they
here.
want to do, and Robbins picks up aces for the second hand in a row. Well,
Let's
let's
call
see
that
if
out.
anyone plays back or see if we get any action. Joe looks interested in the hand. He already has chips in his hand. He doesn't believe that the guy who just showed down aces is going to pick up two big hands. But I'll tell you, the guy is still scooping up the pot from a previous all-in. He's raising it to $30.
Yeah, very
Chances
strong.
are he might have something. He's not just messing around.
Also, his raise is 30, which is completely different than, much more calculated.
I didn't see if there was a straddle in this hand. Joe is going to squeeze from the button with Jack 4 of diamonds to $120. This is not going to work this time. I doubt that Robbins will slow play his hand. I think a 4-bet is coming in, and it is.
I don't know about, I mean,
Foreman is doing a karate dance of sorts because he's upset that he's not going to see a flop with King Jack suited. A very pretty hand.
Hey, Brock,
it
you
would
know
have
a
been
chance of you
great
getting
if he
aces 2 hands in a row?
flatted here.
Slim.
I mean, he just won a big pot,
What's the
and
odds of it?
I
I'm not sure
Very
why
slim.
Both didn't pick
What's
up
the
on
odds of it?
this.
I don't.
The odds are that I'm calling.
300.
It's there. You correct me if I'm wrong because you might play more tournaments than I do. You might not. But you know how in tournaments people have this mentality that if someone picks up
1 in
a bunch
48,000.
of chips, now they want to put these chips to work. I wonder if that's what's running in the
Take it
bet
easy,
Joe's
Black.
mind. Well,
Take
this
it
guy
easy.
just
No, absolutely. Oh,
this guy just won a pot. He wants to put his
Robbins,
new chips to work, but that's not the case because Robbins got dealt the nuts pre-flop, and on a 10-5-5, he's going to ship it in and pick up the pot.
That was the
He
odds.
lost
You gotta
some
turn him
value
in.
there. I'm shocked that he
48,000,
got a
that's
call
the odds,
free
back to
flop.
back.
I'll tell you, on this flop with this given action,
48,841.
I am checking if I'm Robbins.
Yeah.
Listen,
I mean,
just
just
me-
flat.
I knew when I
Ten
saw
by
you
five.
with Jack 4 diamond.
After 4 betting aces pre-flop and getting a 10-5-5
Jack
flop versus Palma, I am checking and seeing what he does. What's he going to do? I mean, whatever hand he has,
What's the matter with you?
I'm going to give him some
Yeah, you
rope.
got to take all the
Great
cards in
spot too,
52,
like
not
out of
50.
position. You know a worm's gonna bet,
Yeah.
behind if you check any flop. I mean,
And then you might want to, if he doesn't take a stab on the flop, you might want to check the turn again and give him another opportunity. And you have a hand that's a lock, basically on this board with aces on a 10-5-5. It's very hard to get drawn out.
oh, worm. Whoops.
Well, that's an adjustment, that we discussed a few minutes ago, that these players have an opportunity to make. Robbins did not make it on this case on a very, very dry flop here when he had aces in the 4-bet pot.
Raise 35.
I mean, put the same flop out there, will you?
Joe
Worm says, "Put
says
the
that
same
I
flop
want.
out
He
there."
says I want to flop quads. Is what he's saying. Well, Joe, everyone wants to flop quads, Joe. It's
Is
not
he
that
announcing
simple,
his
buddy.
hand here?
Well, you know what? If anyone's listening at the table, they will realize that he
You remember what
may
the flop
have
was,
at least a 1-5 in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, they might be listening, not
You gotta check mark.
Look, no one's had. Does anyone have headphones in at this table? I don't believe I see any
That's not
headphones.
even close.
They should be listening. It looks like Foreman has headphones. I would be listening to what Joe is saying when Joe is speaking.
He looks, he talks a lot when he has a hand too, so maybe that's why, Robbins is, I mean, not that he's probably going to bend to this pot anyway, but. All right,
Sorry about
moving
that.
on.
Hand down.
Chip down.
You gotta roll it.
I'll tell you, it's exciting. We finally had a big hand
right?
versus a very light squeeze. Joe wanted to gamble, so he called a 4-bet. He whiffed the flop, and the hand was over. But this is finally some action here. I hope we're gonna get some more big hands dealt out, so we can see
absolutely.
these guys mixing it up. It's not fun watching a guy limping in with 7-5-0.
No, it's not. We got Fish coming in, seat 7. Last name Fishberg, but Fish for a reason. He is definitely loose with his chips. He was also in Poker Night in America 2 years ago.
I believe I saw that episode. He played on the high stakes show 25-50.
Right. Dumped, I think, like 20K or something. I mean, he did get a lot of bad beats.
And Lee is opening up his game a little bit. He's raising it up to 30 with Queen 6 of hearts in a straddle pot, I believe. And Liberstein now wakes up with aces on the button. He's gonna 3-bet the button, and who's gonna believe that he has a hand? Now he has kept it pretty close to the vest, but
Still, Lee's very tight player. He's in the cutoff. He thinks maybe he's able to steal this.
Lee understands his image, I'm going to guess. I mean, he gets
Yeah.
3-bet by somebody, queen 6 off is just going to in the muck. He's too smart to continue out of position with a bad hand here.
Yeah, I get what he's trying to do here. He hasn't been very active since that last pull with ace king.
Yep.
I wonder what this is going at. Very excited. He's definitely buying in for maximum.
I think that
No
is a
doubt.
safe bet.
You played with Fish before?
I have played with Greg before on multiple occasions, mostly at the 2-5 level, and tournaments certainly. We've been deep together in a couple of events.
My name ain't Earl. Yeah, he did beat Ty. Ha, you're talking about, right? Ty?
Heads up.
Heads up. Got it. Yeah, I'm not sure if Ty's going to be playing this week. Definitely a local, aggressive tournament player. Some of these tournament players, it's really funny. I mean, they will bink one and just put out multiple bullets. I mean, Ty's put in 21 bullets in one tournament. Got to make the final table to win money there.
I prefer when these guys bink one and then put in multiple bullets playing the cash game.
Yeah, right.
That's what
You
we all
gotta-
look forward to. There's nothing like a guy coming off a big cash, coming back into the cash games.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, when tournaments come through town and they're in a casino, you will see the difference in cash games.
Well, Gingerbread beating Taiha heads up. I mean, not. You know, he has definitely improved his game. He knows the flow of heads up game now.
Got a button strap.
You know that. I do understand where you're coming from. He did used to play very loose. We're just talking, you know, local players in the area now, but
Please, thank you.
yeah, he's definitely learned a lot.
And somebody is apparently posting some spoilers in the chat. Please,
Uh-oh.
if you're in the room and you're looking over your shoulder and you can see what's going on at the table, please don't spoil it for the rest of us.
What kind of
Why-
spoilers, though? Like,
Well, yeah, there hasn't been all that much to spoil. That's right. The game has been fresh and without super huge confrontations, other than some of the aces that have been dealt out so far. Joe raises the spot to 45 with king, queen off. He gets called by Smith with ace 3 suited. I believe Joe's out of position, and he is going to continue on this dry flop of king
for
ace
sure,
3.
he's continuing here.
Let's see how much you bet. You know, the dry flop like this, there's different schools of thought. It's really hard to flop a worse hand that's going to continue. Most of hands miss king a3.
I
He
like
bets
that bet.
big. He bet
I
75.
actually like that bet.
You like that bet?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of screams weak. I mean, he's going to get a call here. See what happens here. Got the backdoor flush draw. Oh, nope.
No backdoor flush draw for Smith. And
Oh,
now
that's
Joe
a good
checks
check,
his
Warren.
top pair. Now he's gonna check, but I don't know why you would slow down here. I mean, deuce is a
Yeah, I don't know
blank.
about
I would
that either.
continue value betting your top pair. There's no reason to trap it, especially with Joe's image. I would just bet this hand 3 times and see what kind of hand is going to call me. Especially the big bet that he made on the flop.
I think his thinking is he called the flop bet, so he doesn't believe Worm. You know, maybe if he checks that turn, he'll lead out with whatever he's got. I mean, it's a pretty dry flop, so he's hoping this guy has something.
Well,
And he's been calling pretty light.
If I'm against the guy who's calling me light, I'm going to continue value betting my hand,
yeah.
especially on a completely blank turn. And he does not get the river value. I would just play it again very straightforwardly here. I would bet 3 times and not worry about it.
Smith does not fall for the check.
And I would not bet too big here. I mean, you're getting called. If the guy has a worse king, yes, you're going to get 3 streets of value anyway. But you're also going to get called by other hands like ace-3, right? With the backdoor flush draw like he just did on the flop. You want to get called by pocket pair, so we get called by an 8. So I wouldn't try to barrel the guy off of a weak hand. I would just try to make some value bets that are medium and that sort of get me to the river and get me as much value out of weaker hands as possible.
My name ain't Earl. Yeah, I remember that Zaddy. It was a full
Did he
table
bluff you or
and
not?
it came up.
Did he
Yeah,
bluff
now
you?
I recall what happened. I
Yeah,
think
I
only
recall.
two guys showed up to play that thing,
Yeah.
and they.
It was such a sick hand. The way Ty got out, though, it was a pretty bad beat. I don't recall the hand. Actually, I could probably just call him up and ask him.
So did they put up 5,000 or
They did.
2,500 or 5,000 each
Yep.
play, basically heads up, sit and go in order to get into the big game, correct?
Yeah.
felt the ref.
And
I
he
felt
actually
it.
joined. I was playing that cash game, and he was able to join us a couple hours in. And he just continued to play like Ty back then. Dumped a lot of chips.
Palmer is raising again here with 10-7 suited.
Take it easy.
Lee's calling with King Jack off, face up. You know, you couldn't take a more aggressive line here with King Jack off versus Joe.
At this point, I mean, they've won about 3 games. Foreman flops the flush and bets.
Leads out with Queen High Flush, huh?
Ball.
Gets called by Lee with that pair. Another bet. Bets pot on the turn.
I do like that Foreman is c-betting here now. What is that? Oh, is that a jack on the river?
Jack
Well,
on the
he's
river
definitely
is
not
going to
getting
cost
it.
Lee some money.
Yeah,
He
definitely not getting
Foreman
called.
bets, Lee snap calls with trip jacks. How much did he bet? It should have been a pretty significant bet. I mean, if you're Foreman, you should put Lee squarely on the jack, and when he turns trips, apparently, you should make a big bet here on the river. It looks
the
like he
river
bet
is a jack,
$100.
though. Like, what could what could Foreman have other than?
Other than the better
Sure,
hand,
you know.
it's hard to fold trips if you're Lee. It's the river is kind of a cooler. Foreman did not bet too much. He only bet $100 on the river. So with a $100 bet into a $360 pot, I think you're just paying it off with trips. I don't think there's much you can do. Once you get to that river, you're sort of stuck with it.
How much can I put in? Just me?
Yeah, we can
that
put it in
jack
1,000.
would have helped him fold
Yeah,
a
that's
little
true.
bit more there.
You mean Lee?
Yeah.
People
Obviously,
people
he's
like
held
folding
it
people
back.
like folding trips
Put
a
your big
little
line
bit
up there, please.
more than they like folding full
Sorry, go
houses,
after it.
but not by much.
Never folding full house.
You're not. You believe me. You're in the majority of poker playing population.
Here we go again. Worm seems to be raising.
That's how you're going to play?
Trying to get situated. Am I allowed?
How many limps were there in this spot?
Foreman limped in,
I got the button.
and Joe raised the button. And Foreman will continue with Jack 9 suited. Again, Jack 9 suited in the cutoff. I don't know why Foreman isn't opening
No
his
nines.
hand. I mean, you have to understand that here in a six-handed format, limping is sort of
Thanks.
50.
more or less out of the question. You have a hand as good as
Can you at least
Jack,
think
7,
about it?
Jack 9 suited here in the cutoff. You need to open up for a raise and attack the blinds.
Not sure what the 7 Jack 10. Wow. Did Foreman check?
I think it went check, bet, call on the flop. And then Foreman's going to lead river with his top pair and get a fold from sixes.
1,000.
And
Oh,
we have
hey,
the
here's
arrival of Greg
Fish.
Fishberg.
Only 1,000?
Well, I'll tell you this: the action at this table is about to pick up slightly.
Yep. I mean, for sure. I mean, Fish bought in Max, I'm sure, and
And he's not shy about putting chips in the pot. And he has position on Joe, so this is an important point in which Joe Palmer needs to
What's
make
your
an
phone?
adjustment.
What happened?
Greg will be 3-betting him here.
Somebody get bluffed?
Because he knows that Joe is opening wide.
they also play together
You
all
need
the
'em.
time.
They know each other's game, and this game is going to get more aggressive pre-flop, I think, immediately here.
So Fish likes to play his hands as well as the players, and he's kind of, he's not as, loose as Worm, just blindly betting. He does get
What
some
happened there?
kind of
What's going on?
equity when he bets. I'm not sure how he'll be playing tonight. he kind of switches it up too. So
From what I've seen from Fishberg, he's a very aggressive player.
very aggressive.
And I think
I could have had it.
I think that'll have an immediate effect on the dynamics of this game.
It's a good board for me. Raising something.
Yeah, complete change from Whispers earlier.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Seems to be some commotion
could have
in the
put a couple
room.
more
Either
red chips
that
for
or
the game or
people
no?
are looking over their shoulder again to see what happened 30 minutes ago.
Looks good.
We'll see if they like what they see or not.
No.
So this side of the table has been reasonably quiet, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is that your impression
Yeah.
as well, that we've been sort of focused on the other side of the table more so?
Yeah, they haven't really said anything much.
Not a lot of banter, that's right, coming out of 1, 2, or 3 seats.
Yeah, I'm surprised C2 hasn't been very aggressive. Just a lot of passive calls.
I need to keep this open.
Did he just raise her?
Well, I'm
there's
going to
no
guess
red
that
back
Joe
there,
opened
see?
King 9 suited and he did to 25.
Okay.
We have a call from the big blind in seat 2. So Smitty calls in seat 2. Do we have any other? It doesn't look like we have any other callers. It's a heads-up pot.
Figure out if
Nope, Lee
oh,
calls.
Lee's in.
Lee is in, and the big blind is in as well. Lee has a mystery hand. Joe flops a gutter and a backdoor flush draw. And I'm gonna guess that he will c-bet this board. But he checks. And Lee will bet in position.
Maybe he felt
as a
something
pre-flop
from Lee.
caller, he may have. We didn't see it because of our camera angle, but maybe he picked something up. It's quite possible.
All right, small enough to call.
Smith gets out of the way with a 6, and Joe continues, and Joe turns a flush draw, monster draw. Now, how is Smith? We had the Smith's hand wrong.
Is
It's
that
ace
right?
queen. We had a different hand in there.
Oh, wow.
So he continues with top pair. Now it gets checked through on the turn, and
I'm all sorts of confused. right
River, Joe Rivers, top
now.
pair.
I think top pair, right?
He Rivers'
Okay.
best hand. That's right. Smith was very passive with his ace queen suited here. Pre-flop was on and on the flop. And he's out of position, and he got drawn out on the river. Palmer is betting his top pair on the river, rightly so.
Wow, is he calling?
And Smitty's going to call it off. I mean, yeah, he's going to call it off with ace queen.
Yeah, Worm's starting to definitely use his image to reel in some chips.
His image was certainly a contributor to this river. I think that's
For sure.
I can hear static as well. I think it's coming from the table feed.
Sorry, guys, a little staticky, but we got Worm. Fish got. Oh,
And we have some visitors in the booth, if you can tell by yelling coming from our microphones. It's our
Well, come say
ambassador
hello, Worm.
Joe Palmer that just stuck his hand
You won't laugh,
in
right?
the booth.
where's my drink, Worm?
You're still watching what he's doing on the screen 30 minutes
Wait,
ago,
was
but
this
what
2-5?
he's doing right now, I can tell you, is relaxing after a long session of poker.
30.
Ooh, yeah,
And it looks like he's also sharing a beverage.
Cheeto.
110.
This new vodka.
I like it.
110.
Tito's?
I guess, yeah. We're trying to promote Kimosabe, though.
That's right. This game is sponsored by Kimosabe Mezcal, and Kimosabe Mezcal, it's something that I haven't sampled yet. I don't know if there's any Kimosabe Mezcal around,
Not in Sugerhouse,
but maybe it's coming.
yeah, we're talking about that.
So as I predicted, Fishberg started 3-betting Joe here with King 9 suited in this
Bad
case.
check.
Joe opened the spot, I believe, and Fish
Gotta get
3-bet
something out of him, right, Nick?
King 9, checked back a King high flop,
40.
and now Joe is leading the river small with his top pair.
Very cool.
King Jack is still best.
I mean, Fish is never
Fishberg
folding, I don't
calls,
think.
Ace of diamonds is going to make this hand interesting on the river. It's probably just going to go check, check.
Yeah, one check, yeah.
I doubt that
King.
Fish can do anything here other than check it down.
Real king, real
Takes it
king.
down with the better kicker.
Battle of
Yeah.
the most aggressive.
Yeah, both with king high. I think it's a perfectly valid 3-bet with king 9 suited here for Fishberg after Joe is opening yet another hand.
Yeah, pretty tame pot size here for both.
Fishberg decided to check back the flop, and in this case it was correct.
I love seeing them play together, though.
Yeah, they bring a different
Dodgers
dynamic
won.
to this table.
Messed up that
And apparently a little bit of a baseball
It was
conversation.
3-1 late.
I'm like finishing one straight right now.
Kershaw's so good, man.
Lee here, first to act with 8-5 of diamonds, is going to bring it in for a raise, it looks like.
I like that, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's no limping in the 7-handed format. If you're trying to play well, you're going to get action, especially when you have a player like Fishberg on your direct left. So that's a consideration. So 8-5 is certainly is not a tight open. It's a rather a loose open.
But good for his image if he hits it. He gets
But limping in is not really an option either, right? So he gets 3 callers here. Fishberg, Robbins with ace-jack, and Palm with king-7 off defense, his straddle.
I was rooting for Lee. Would have been a fun pot.
Lee whiffed, and he's going to check. It's over to Fishberg.
He's definitely got
He checks.
something.
All the way to Robbins.
Everybody missed, and Robbins bets.
Is Robbins on the small blind, or is he on the button?
Seems to be a small blind here.
Which looked
Wait
like
a minute.
it looked
That
like everyone
doesn't
checked.
make
It
any
looked like
sense,
everyone
yeah.
checked to him. So Robbins is looks like he led.
You know I'm at the table right
Maybe
now
they
or no?
checked out a turn, but it looks like Robbins led the flop
Where?
with the draw. He got called by Fishberg. Now Robbins is chuck folding a 7 turn,
Backwards.
and Fishberg is going to pick up
Okay,
the
I
spot
see him.
with a
We're
bet on
done
the
in like
Pretty sure
15
he had
minutes.
it.
We don't know what Fish had, but
Not
he
right
does.
this second.
Yeah, I mean, but
Count it out.
right.
All right.
If I look at what everybody else had, you know, I mean, pretty sure he had some there. Haven't seen a showdown from Fishberg yet.
Is it just like out there? You can straddle anywhere.
Anywhere.
I think these other players know that Worm and Fish are old acquaintances and good friends.
They don't hide it. They
Yeah,
started
they
the,
do.
the baseball
And Worm
conversation
just
right
confirmed.
away. There's no reason to conceal that really.
And 1-3 and
Raise the 15.
No straddle. no
It's like us
sand.
at the table, Worm. Good old times.
and 1-3.
So sorry.
Folds to Liberstein, who is going to raise from the hijack with ace-10 off.